There's a moment few ever touch, a moment where the noise of the world fades into static, where time loses its grip, and all that exists is you, the purest version of you. No distractions, no hesitation, no weight of the past or anxiety of the future. Just a heartbeat syncing perfectly with purpose. That is the flow. But understand this, flow isn't some mystical gift that falls from the sky. It's not a spark of luck or a burst of fleeting inspiration. Flow is a battlefield. It's a state earned through sacrifice, through consistency, through pain. To reach it, you must first destroy the inner noise that demands your attention every second of the day. You must silence the world and then silence yourself. Because flow doesn't emerge in chaos. It appears when chaos has been conquered. You must earn your entry into it. When you've done something so many times that it fuses with your identity, when muscle, mind, and instinct operate as one, you unlock the door. Flow is the reward for mastery. The moment your mind finally stops fighting itself, the gates open, and something ancient awakens within you. It's not peace. It's not joy. It's clarity so sharp, it cuts through time itself. In that state, hesitation dies. Your moves are automatic, but not mindless. Each motion is perfection unfolding without conscious effort. You stop trying to be great, because greatness is already happening through you. And yet this is what terrifies the average person. They fear losing control, so they never reach it. They keep one foot in safety and wonder why their lives feel dull. Flow requires total surrender. You must disappear to truly arrive. It's not meditation, it's war. It's the war between thought and instinct, between hesitation and precision. Flow doesn't whisper, it roars through your bloodstream. You'll feel it when your body moves, before your mind can speak. When you're working, training, writing, building, creating, and the entire universe feels like it's breathing with you. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Flow demands a toll. It doesn't come to the distracted. It doesn't visit the lazy. You can't summon it while living half awake. It appears only to those who burn for progress, who are willing to drown out the noise of everything that doesn't serve them. To reach flow, you must kill the part of you addicted to comfort. The part that scrolls, delays, complains, and feeds on dopamine instead of discipline. Every time you choose comfort, you destroy momentum. Every time you give in to distraction, you sever the connection between you and your craft. Flow is a fragile beast. It hides from chaos. But once you've tasted it, once you've known what it feels like to dissolve into your purpose, you'll never want to live without it again. Flow is not calm. It's precision wrapped in fury. It's an engine of creation running on silence and obsession. It's the eye of the storm, where only the committed can stand. When you're in it, you're untouchable. You move without thinking, act without doubting, and create without fear. The world could collapse around you, and you would still be focused. That's the power of flow. It's not a mindset, it's a frequency. The question is, can you stay there? Can you remain in the current when the world screams for your attention? Can you keep your focus sharp when everything around you tries to dull it? Because flow isn't something you chase. It's something you protect. It's not found by force. It's earned through preparation. When your environment, your routine, and your mental discipline are aligned, flow comes to you naturally. Silence the world. Guard your mind. Create rituals that invite flow into your life. The right music, the right time of day, the right focus. These are your weapons. Eliminate what scatters your attention. Cut ties with distractions. Let repetition become meditation until your craft consumes you entirely. And when it does, stay humble. Because flow is not your slave. It's a force you borrow from something higher. It does not belong to you. It chooses you when you've proven worthy. If you disrespect it, if you break it with self-doubt, with overthinking, or by craving validation, it will vanish as quickly as it came. Flow does not tolerate arrogance. When you are in flow, you disappear. Your ego dissolves. There is no I, only execution, only creation. The artist ceases to exist. Only the art remains. The warrior ceases to think. Only the strike exists. The builder ceases to plan. Only the construction continues. Flow is the closest thing humans have to divine synchronization, the merging of body, mind, and spirit into one rhythm. And the beautiful tragedy is this: you can't hold it forever. Flow comes and goes like a storm. It tests you. It rewards the devoted and abandons the distracted. But if you train your mind daily, if you build the conditions for its return, it will come back again and again, each time stronger, deeper, more consuming. Because the goal isn't just to enter flow. The goal is to live there, to build a life so aligned with purpose that flow is your default state, where work and art and movement and thought all bleed into one thing: mastery. Flow is the warrior's meditation, the artist's weapon, the entrepreneur's advantage, the athlete's salvation, the craftsman's peace. It's what separates those who exist from those who create. So when you find it, guard it with your life. Breathe into it. Don't question it. Don't break it with distraction or pride. Let it consume you until your very identity dissolves into motion. Because in that moment, when you are nothing but presence, you become infinite. And when you master flow, you stop chasing success. You stop chasing life. Because in the flow, life starts chasing you. Step 1. Silence the noise. The first step toward entering flow is silence. Not peace. Not comfort. Silence. The kind that strips away everything unnecessary. The kind that exposes who you really are when no one's watching. Most people will never taste it, because it terrifies them. They live surrounded by noise for a reason. The noise protects them from hearing the truth echoing inside their own minds. The noise is their shield and their cage. Every sound, every notification, every flash of distraction keeps them away from the void where their true potential sleeps. That's why so few ever find the flow, because silence demands confrontation. When you remove the constant noise, you are left with nothing but your thoughts, your fears, your unfulfilled potential whispering back at you. Most would rather drown in distraction than face that voice. But you are not most. To enter flow, you must declare war on noise. This isn't about turning off your phone or putting on noise-canceling headphones. It's about going to battle against the endless impulses that fragment your mind. It's about training your awareness to hold the line. Every time your mind drifts to something irrelevant, drag it back. Every time your attention fractures, reclaim it. You are not a slave to distraction. You are its executioner. Think about it. How much of your life have you already lost to noise? How many dreams died because you couldn't sit alone in silence long enough to hear them speak? How many opportunities slipped past because your mind was somewhere else, half present, half gone? That's the curse of the unfocused. They exist in fragments. Their energy leaks from 1,000 cracks they never seal. They start a task, check a screen, think of something else, and before they know it, their willpower is gone. Their creative edge dulls. Their mental clarity dissolves into fog. They live half awake. The flow cannot enter a fragmented mind. It is a current that demands unity. You must be whole, centered, unshakable. Silence is how you rebuild that. Silence is how you remember who commands your mind. When you enter silence intentionally, at first it feels like death. The world fades, and the mind panics. It searches for stimulation, for noise, for anything familiar. But this is the test. The silence will show you your addiction. It will reveal how desperate your mind is to escape itself. If you can endure that moment, if you can breathe through it, you will cross a threshold most never reach. Because on the other side of that discomfort is clarity. Not the kind you think. Not motivational clarity. Not aha moments. I'm talking about razor-sharp awareness, the kind that cuts through fog like a blade. You'll begin to notice things differently. Sounds become sharper. Movement slows. The world stops pulling you apart. Your mind becomes one thing. That's when flow begins to stir beneath the surface. Understand this. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of control. It's when you command where your attention lives. It's when nothing outside of your chosen focus matters. This control is rare. It's powerful. And it's painful to develop. Because every second you spend in silence feels like rebellion against the modern world. A world built on noise, chaos, and consumption. But rebellion is necessary. You must reject the constant influx of useless input. You must starve the parts of your mind that feed on cheap stimulation. Do not mistake stillness for idleness. Silence is not inactivity. It's preparation. It's your forge. It's where you build the discipline that will later guide your performance. Silence is where warriors are sharpened before they step onto the battlefield. It's where the artist meets the void before creating. It's where the trader, the athlete, the builder, all strip themselves of distraction until only focus remains. This is how you begin. Set a time each day where silence owns you. It could be 5 minutes. It could be an hour. Sit with nothing. No phone. No music. Just you. Let the mind race at first. Let it panic. Don't fight it. Observe it. Watch the chaos burn itself out. Then, when the noise inside begins to slow, direct your attention toward a single purpose. A thought, a breath, a motion, a task. This is your initiation. The more you do this, the stronger your focus becomes. The noise will lose its grip. You'll begin to carry silence into every environment. Crowded places won't shake you. Distractions won't tempt you. You'll walk through chaos untouched, because your silence lives within you now. That's when you realize something profound. Silence isn't empty. It's full. It's full of power, precision, and presence. It's where the flow begins to take form, quietly, invisibly, waiting for you to be still enough to receive it. Because flow doesn't arrive in a storm of motivation. It arrives in stillness. In the moment, you finally stop scattering your mind across 100 meaningless things. So silence the noise, warrior. Cut it out of your life like a tumor. You owe no apology for protecting your peace. You owe no explanation for disconnecting from what drains you. The world may call you distant, cold, obsessive. Let them. They can't understand the silence because they've never heard their own soul speak. But you're different. You're ready to hear the voice within, the one that's been waiting beneath the noise all along. And when you find it, when the world fades and only purpose remains, you will step into the first true state of power, the silence before the storm. Step 2, build rituals that anchor focus. Silence opens the door, but ritual is what keeps it open. Flow is not luck. It is not lightning. It's rhythm. And rhythm cannot exist without repetition, without ritual. Ritual is the bridge between discipline and divinity. It's what takes your ordinary actions and transforms them into sacred ones. The undisciplined wake up and drift into their day, scrolling, reacting, falling victim to randomness. But the disciplined, the chosen few, start their day with structure, intention, and warlike precision. They move through life like clockwork forged in chaos. And that's the secret. Flow belongs to those who prepare for it. You don't stumble into flow by accident. You build it. You summon it. You create the conditions so consistently that the mind has no choice but to obey. The ritual doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be yours. It might be the way you tie your shoes before training, the way you sit before writing, the breath you take before executing, the candle you light before creating, the music you start before focusing. Whatever it is, it's not superstition. It's conditioning. You are training your nervous system to recognize, this is when I become unstoppable. Each repetition strengthens the connection. Each consistent routine teaches your body and mind to meet in the same place, at the same time, with the same energy. Over time, your ritual becomes the key that unlocks the door to flow on command. The weak treat their days like accidents. They wait for motivation, inspiration, or the right mood. They drift between states, never understanding why they feel powerless. But warriors, creators, thinkers who achieve mastery, they don't wait. They build triggers. Every ritual is a psychological weapon. When used correctly, it bypasses resistance and doubt. The moment your ritual begins, your mind knows it's time to perform. You no longer need to convince yourself to act. The body moves, the mind follows, and your entire being synchronizes like gears in a perfect machine. This is why soldiers, athletes, monks, and masters all rely on ritual. It's not a coincidence, it's law. The human mind thrives on repetition. The same way the body learns through muscle memory, the mind learns through mental routine. But don't mistake ritual for routine. Routine is dull repetition, motion without soul. Ritual, however, is repetition with meaning. It's deliberate. It's sacred. You are not going through the motions. You are forging identity through action. Every time you perform your ritual, you reinforce the truth. I am in control. Think of your ritual as a signal to the universe. When you repeat it with unwavering focus, the world starts to align. Energy shifts, thoughts sharpen, the noise quiets. It's as if reality itself begins to bend around your intention. Why? Because focus is frequency, and ritual is how you tune into it. You cannot stay in flow if your life is built on chaos. You must engineer stability so that the mind can dissolve into focus. Your ritual becomes the container that holds your energy in place. It turns scattered attention into a laser beam. Every time you perform it, you are rewiring your brain to associate this environment, this posture, this sound, this time with deep creation. Over weeks, that becomes your identity. Your brain learns, when I step into this ritual, distraction dies. And the more powerful the ritual, the faster you drop into flow. No hesitation, no warm-up. You step into the rhythm like a warrior entering combat. Instinctive, focused, unshakable. But let me give you a warning. The modern world is designed to destroy ritual. Convenience is the assassin of mastery. The more effortless things become, the weaker your connection to meaning. Automation kills awareness. Mindless comfort destroys presence. So if you want to stay sharp, build friction intentionally. Wake up early and repeat your process by hand. Write your goals instead of typing them. Prepare your workspace before every session. Make the process sacred. The point isn't efficiency, it's embodiment. You're training your consciousness to show up. Over time, this becomes a silent code. Your body recognizes the rhythm before your mind does. The smell of coffee, the dim light, the sound of the same playlist, the placement of your tools. It all forms a psychological gateway. When these conditions align, you enter flow effortlessly. You don't think. You know. To build your ritual, ask yourself, what prepares my mind for intensity? What sounds, smells, or sights anchor me in presence? What order of actions brings me closest to stillness? Choose wisely. Then repeat it every day until it's burned into your nervous system. Let no one interrupt it. Protect it like a ceremony of the soul. You will know it's working when the ritual begins to change you. When simply starting it pulls you into focus. When hesitation vanishes and the body begins to move before the mind can interfere. That's flow calling. That's mastery in motion. Ritual is not habit. It's identity crystallized through repetition. It transforms intention into instinct. It forges the bridge between your conscious desire and your subconscious execution. It tells the universe that you're not playing at this. You're becoming this. Every repetition is a declaration. I am the type of person who shows up. I am the type of person who does the work. I am the type of person who enters flow at will. You're not waiting for the world to hand you greatness. You're building the mechanism that guarantees it. So build your rituals, warrior. Sharpen them until they become second nature. Let them root deep into your bones. One day, you'll wake up and realize you no longer have to get ready to perform. You already are. Your ritual has become your rhythm. Your rhythm has become your flow. And your flow has become your life. Step 3. Enter the state of no self. To truly enter flow, you must die. Not in body, but in identity. You must let the you that clings to control, the you that obsesses over perfection, the you that doubts, hesitates, and questions, fade into nothing. Flow begins where the ego ends. It is the space beyond self. This is where most fail. They want flow, but refuse to surrender. They want mastery, but insist on keeping their pride. They hold on to identity like a trophy, never realizing that the very thing they cling to is what holds them back. You can't enter flow if you keep dragging your self-image into every moment. The voice that says, I hope this works. The thought that whispers, what will they think of me? The fear that says, I can't mess this up. That voice is the enemy. It's the mind's way of keeping you small. It's survival instinct pretending to protect you while it secretly smothers your greatness. Flow begins when you silence that voice, not by arguing with it, but by transcending it. You don't fight the ego. You simply stop feeding it. When you are in flow, there is no I. There is no separation between the doer and the deed. There is only movement. The painter becomes the brush. The fighter becomes the strike. The writer becomes the word. The musician becomes the note. The builder becomes the creation itself. You stop doing and start being. It's no longer effort. It's existence. And that's the paradox. You can only perform at your highest level when you stop trying to perform. When you stop overanalyzing every move. When you stop asking if it's good enough. When you stop dragging your ego into the process, you become unstoppable. Flow is what happens when instinct and training take command. When the body and mind merge into one. It's when your consciousness expands to fill the present moment completely. Every thought that doesn't belong disappears. Every movement feels inevitable. Every action feels like destiny unfolding in real time. But to reach this state, you must earn the right to vanish. Flow is not a shortcut for the unprepared. It rewards those who've bled for their craft, those who've built precision through repetition, those who've earned mastery through suffering. Only then can you trust yourself enough to disappear. Because once you enter flow, there is no room for doubt. There's no time to think. You either move with faith or fall into hesitation. You either act in alignment or you lose the rhythm. The weak hesitate. The disciplined become. You can't think your way into flow. You must train yourself so deeply that thinking is no longer required. The mind must become an extension of your will, not a judge of it. Ego will resist this death. It will whisper lies. It will try to pull you back into self-consciousness. It will say, you need control. You need recognition. You need perfection. Ignore it. The ego is the last gatekeeper. It doesn't want to vanish because its existence depends on your attention. When you withdraw that attention, it starves. And in its starvation, you awaken. When the ego dies, what remains is not emptiness. It's presence. It's awareness without commentary. It's clarity without narrative. It's stillness in motion. You are not thinking about what you're doing. You are what you're doing. You will know you've entered this state when time dissolves, when hours vanish in minutes, when effort feels effortless, when you lose track of self but feel more alive than you've ever been. That's not imagination. That's what it feels like to touch eternity through action. And yet, most people will never experience this because they can't stop chasing applause. They want validation more than they want mastery. They create not for the sake of creation, but to be seen creating. They perform not for the act itself, but for the reaction. They post, they compare, they chase shadows, never realizing that the more they crave acknowledgement, the further they drift from flow. Understand this truth. When you need the world's approval, you've already given away your power. When you crave validation, you're building your temple on shifting sand. The true warrior, the true creator, the true master, they don't chase applause. They vanish into the work so deeply that the world has no choice but to notice. Flow is their only audience. To enter this state of no self, practice presence until it becomes instinct. When you sit to work, breathe slowly and consciously. Feel every sensation. Anchor your focus to the task, like your life depends on it. If your mind wanders, drag it back, again and again, until you no longer need to. Train your awareness to lock onto one thing completely. And when you do, your sense of self will begin to blur. It won't be forced. It will fade naturally, like smoke dissolving into air. That's when you know the transition has begun. You'll no longer feel like you're doing something. You'll feel like you are something. You'll no longer feel like you're trying to control the moment. You'll realize you are the moment. This is the death of the false self and the birth of mastery. In the state of no self, you become a channel for something higher. The work flows through you, not from you. Ideas appear effortlessly. Movements align perfectly. There's no resistance, no effort, no friction, just execution. This is where your best ideas are born. This is where innovation happens. This is where greatness reveals itself, not because you forced it, but because you became empty enough to receive it. Ego will fight to return. It always does. But each time you surrender to flow, its grip weakens. Each time you dissolve into your craft, you reclaim your freedom. Because when the I disappears, what remains is truth. And in that truth, you are limitless. No fear, no hesitation, no pride, just pure, unbroken, unstoppable motion. You will realize then, you were never chasing flow. Flow was chasing you. It was waiting for the day you'd finally get out of your own way. Step 4. Protect the frequency. Reaching flow is one battle. Keeping it is war. Most never sustain it, not because they're incapable, but because they underestimate how fragile it is. Flow is like a current of divine precision, and it only moves through those disciplined enough to maintain its vibration. It is not loyal to chaos. It does not dwell with the scattered. Flow demands purity of focus, a sacred alignment between intention and environment. When you find it, you've touched something holy, something the world around you will try to steal. Because make no mistake, the world wants your energy. Every app, every algorithm, every person who lives in distraction feeds off your attention. They survive on the very thing that fuels your flow. They will pull, prod, and tempt you back into noise because your focus is power, and power terrifies the powerless. So if you wish to stay in the current, you must protect your frequency like a fortress under siege. Flow is frequency. It's the resonance of mind, body, and purpose vibrating at the same pitch. Once tuned, you become unstoppable. You think faster. You move cleaner. You feel lighter. But this harmony is delicate. The slightest interference, an argument, a distraction, a scroll through meaningless content, and the signal begins to distort. Protecting your frequency means refusing to let the world drag you down to its static. This is where many lose their way. They achieve moments of clarity, but allow mediocrity to infiltrate. They open their focus to gossip, negativity, low-level conversations. They invite the unaligned into their space and wonder why their vision starts to fade. But flow is a jealous force. It does not share space with disorder. It demands isolation from what drains you. You cannot walk with chaos and expect calm to follow. You cannot feast with the unfocused and expect clarity to remain. If you wish to maintain the state, you must cleanse your environment. Start with your space. Your workspace is not a casual corner. It's your temple. Every object, every sound, every detail must serve your focus. If it doesn't, remove it. Create an environment that speaks silence. Let the room itself tell your mind. Here, we work. Here, we build. Here, we transcend. Your space should echo with purpose. When you sit down, your brain should know, this is sacred ground. Then move to your energy. Who you allow into your proximity determines whether your frequency rises or decays. Protect it ruthlessly. Distance yourself from those who drain, distract, or disrespect your mission. You are not cruel for doing this. You are wise. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not everyone should hear your plans. Not everyone should be allowed to break your focus. Silence is not loneliness. It's self-respect. Next, protect your time. Because time is not measured in minutes. It's measured in focus. Every moment spent outside of flow is stolen potential. Guard your hours, like a king guards his throne. Schedule your deep work as if it were survival itself, because it is. If you allow others to dictate your attention, you've already surrendered your greatness. Every quick text, every small favor, every 5-minute distraction cuts your thread to the current. The flow requires uninterrupted immersion. Remember this, you cannot be half in and half out of flow. You are either submerged in it or you are disconnected from it. There is no middle ground. Protecting your frequency also means protecting your internal state, your emotions, your energy, your mental clarity. These are sacred instruments. If you feed them poison, don't be surprised when the music dies. This means guarding your diet, not just of food, but of thoughts. Guard what you consume online. Guard what you listen to. Guard what conversations you entertain. Everything you let in either sharpens your edge or dulls it. Do not allow yourself to absorb the weakness of the collective. The masses live on emotional autopilot, reactive, distracted, addicted to outrage. But warriors of flow live differently. They move strategically. They breathe intentionally. They walk through noise untouched. You must also guard your energy cycles. Rest when necessary, not as indulgence, but as preparation. Sleep is not weakness, it's recalibration. Even machines burn out when pushed beyond capacity. The body is the vehicle of flow, and a weapon is only useful if it's maintained. When you sense your focus fading, step back, not to escape, but to preserve. Step into nature, silence, or solitude. Retune your mind before it drifts into decay. Discipline isn't just about pushing harder. It's about protecting the conditions that make greatness possible. But let's speak the truth. Most won't. Protecting your frequency will make you misunderstood. You will lose people. You will offend those who once felt entitled to your time. You will be called distant, cold, arrogant. But remember, those labels are weapons of the unfocused, designed to drag you back down. You are not obligated to explain your silence. You are not required to apologize for your isolation. You are building something eternal, and eternity demands sacrifice. Every second spent defending your frequency is a second invested in your destiny. To live in flow is to live in sacred rhythm. Your mind is your instrument. Your time is your resource. Your environment is your amplifier. Keep them clean, aligned, and pure. Let others chase stimulation. You chase signal. Let others drown in noise. You dwell in focus. Let others crumble under chaos. You build under silence. Because once your frequency is locked in, you will walk through life untouchable, unbothered by distraction, unaffected by chaos, unshaken by opinion. The world may rage around you, but inside, stillness reigns. Protect your frequency, warrior, because when you guard it with your life, you will find that the flow doesn't fade. It becomes your home. And those who once tried to pull you out of it will one day look to you for the way back in. Step 5. Refine, reflect, repeat. The path to mastery doesn't end when you reach flow. That's where it begins. Most people think the flow state is the finish line, a mystical realm they enter once, taste briefly, and call themselves enlightened. But those who understand the deeper truth know. Flow is a cycle, a rhythm, a frequency that must be earned again and again. Every day, every battle, every breath. Because the moment you stop refining, the current starts to slow. The moment you stop reflecting, you drift into arrogance. And the moment you stop repeating, the silence inside you fills again with noise. Flow is not a gift. It's a discipline. It's not something you visit. It's something you become. And becoming requires repetition without end. Refinement is the blade's edge. Reflection is the whetstone. Repetition is the strike. Together they forge the unbreakable. Every time you enter flow, you learn something about yourself. You discover a weakness, a distraction, a pattern that pulls you off course. Those moments are not failures. They are feedback. Every disruption in the current is a signal, a lesson, a map leading you toward higher precision. You must learn to read the turbulence. When your mind falters, when your focus breaks, when you lose the rhythm, don't run. Don't curse the interruption. Examine it. Ask, why did it happen? What triggered it? Was it fatigue, doubt, noise, ego? You can't master what you refuse to study. Reflection is the mirror of mastery. Without it, you become a machine repeating errors instead of refining execution. So look inward. Look brutally. Look without ego. Strip away excuses. Study your process like a surgeon studies anatomy. Where does your discipline slip? Where does the flow weaken? Where does fear creep in? Then, fix it. Adjust, adapt, sharpen. This is refinement. The endless act of sculpting the self. But refinement alone is not enough. You must also repeat. Because repetition is what transforms insight into instinct. Every warrior knows. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your training. The same is true for flow. You don't reach it by accident, you sink into it through the gravity of repetition. Every time you repeat your rituals, your silence, your process, you strengthen the neural paths that lead you back into the current. You're programming your mind to recognize the vibration of mastery faster and deeper each time. At first, it takes hours to find it, then minutes, then seconds. Eventually, flow becomes your default state, the water you breathe, the air you think in. But this comes with danger too, because repetition without awareness becomes routine, and routine without reflection breeds stagnation. That's how even masters decay. They stop questioning. Never assume you've arrived. Flow is infinite depth. There's always another layer, another rhythm, another level of awareness waiting beneath the surface. When you believe you've mastered it, that's when it begins to slip through your fingers. Arrogance is the crack that leaks focus. So stay humble before the current. Understand, flow does not belong to you. You borrow it. And like all borrowed things, it must be cared for. Your duty is to maintain the vessel, the mind, the habits, the structure that keeps the current flowing through you. That's why reflection is vital. It reconnects you to reverence. It reminds you that this state of clarity, this precision of thought, this effortless execution, it is sacred. You don't take it for granted. You honor it through awareness. Think of your journey like a forge. Each day you enter the fire to temper your will. Each night you emerge stronger, more refined, more defined. Then you do it again tomorrow. You reflect on what cracked, what bent, what held under pressure, and you rebuild, stronger, sharper, simpler. This is the endless loop of greatness, not perfection. Progress, not arrival. Ascension. Refine, reflect, repeat. Until flow isn't something you step into, it's something you live in. There will be days when you fail. Days when the current feels distant. Days when you sit in silence and feel nothing but fog. That's part of the process. Flow isn't lost. It's waiting for you to return to the right frequency. When the world feels heavy, when your focus slips, when the edge dulls, don't panic. Return to the fundamentals. Silence, ritual, presence, protection, reflection. These are your anchors. They will never fail you. Each repetition of this cycle reinforces your alignment with the infinite rhythm that underlies everything. Every breath, every movement, every thought begins to hum in tune with it. And when you reach that point, life itself becomes flow. You stop fighting time. You stop battling resistance. You move with life instead of against it. And that is the highest form of mastery. Refine your craft relentlessly. Reflect on your path ruthlessly. Repeat your discipline religiously. Because this is how the extraordinary are forged. Not through bursts of inspiration, but through endless evolution. You don't conquer the flow once. You become the kind of being who never falls out of it. That is the path of the warrior. That is the rhythm of the creator. That is the frequency of mastery. Refine, reflect, repeat. Forever. There comes a moment in every warrior's life when he understands this isn't about chasing success. It's about becoming the instrument through which success moves. Flow is not a destination. It is not something you find. It's something you forge. And the 5 steps you've walked through are not steps at all. They're a transformation, a reawakening, a reclamation of power in a world that profits from your distraction. Silence, ritual, ego death, protection, refinement. Each is a piece of the weapon you are becoming. Each sharpens the edge of your focus until the noise of the world can no longer touch you. Because the truth is, you cannot rise while divided. You cannot build while distracted. You cannot create while clinging to chaos. Flow demands unity, and unity demands sacrifice. You will lose parts of yourself on this path. The old you, the impulsive, reactive, comfort-chasing version, will not survive this transformation. You'll bury him in the silence. You'll burn him in the ritual. You'll dissolve him in the state of no self. You'll defend his grave by protecting your frequency. And you'll honor his death by refining what remains. That's the cost of mastery. Flow doesn't come to the casual. It doesn't visit the uncommitted. It reveals itself only to those who have paid with their comfort, their convenience, their constant craving for stimulation. The price of peace is focus. The price of greatness is presence. When you silence the noise, you hear the truth. When you build ritual, you build rhythm. When you destroy the ego, you awaken power. When you protect your frequency, you preserve your clarity. And when you refine, reflect, and repeat, you become limitless. Not because you gained something new, but because you finally stopped leaking what was already yours. The masses will never know this feeling. They will scroll and scroll until their minds bleed. They will chase dopamine like beggars chasing scraps. They will confuse motion with meaning and noise with life. But you will move differently. You will rise in silence while they drown in chaos. You will build momentum in the shadows while they wait for permission. You will enter flow not once, not twice, but as a way of being. You'll begin to notice something strange. The harder you work, the easier life feels. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. The quieter your world gets, the louder your purpose becomes. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. That's what happens when you live in the current rather than resist it. Flow is the natural state of those who've remembered who they are. It's what happens when you stop trying to control everything and instead become everything. So let the others live half awake. Let them mock your silence, misunderstand your rituals, mislabel your focus as obsession. They cannot understand what it means to move with the current of creation itself. They have never tasted the stillness that burns brighter than fire. But you have. And once you've tasted that level of clarity, once you've felt your soul synchronize with your actions, you can never go back. You'll no longer chase flow, because you are flow. Your silence is your sanctuary. Your ritual is your command. Your ego is your offering. Your focus is your fortress. Your repetition is your resurrection. Remember this: every breath can be sacred, every task can be art, every moment can be mastery, if you live it fully. The flow is not something outside of you. It was within you all along, waiting for your return. So now, return. Step back into the current. Move with purpose. Build with precision. Speak with power. Create with presence. The world will feel slower around you, but you'll know that it's not the world that changed. It's you. You have become the storm within the silence. You have become the rhythm that the universe bends to. You have become one with the flow. And from this moment forward, you will never break it again.